a commercial station, so rather than a black music station. So of course we have generic output during the daytime hours, and we do some specialist shows in the evenings, and they will now be going on to our new online station, which is going to be launching in 2018. So the show I was doing, and I know both of you used to listen to Groove Lounge, was sort of put on the back burner to go onto the new online station, because we have to please our advertisers, and they wanted the generic output. So I shall be coming back on the online station, but I am doing a show called Night Grooves between 12 and 1 a.m. Monday to Thursday. They let me loose, they let me choose my own music, which is fantastic, and that's a 4-day thing. And so if you like soul music, tune in. We do a bit of everything, really. We do some Motown, we do a bit of jazz, we do a bit of disco, you name it.
And that's a live show, is it?
This is, no, it's not live. No, that's recorded. The 12.
Don't tell listeners that.
No.
They don't know what
I sound. I fancy asking me that.
Yes, I know.
I thought you was always live, Andrew.
I am live, except when I'm not, Bob.
He's letting the magic cat out.
I am very, very much live this morning, and I must say, guys, it's a pleasure to be joining you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
I love your studio.
I'm not so sure we're going to last till 11 o'clock, but never mind. Andrew, let's go back to that Aretha Franklin one, because there's a little bit of history behind that, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I mean that was the track that all started for me, because I'm the grand age of 62 now, and I've been listening to soul music since I was 10 years old, and it all started because in my household, like a lot of people, we didn't have a television when I was growing up. So of course my parents had the old radio, the wireless on, and of course it was always on the Light programme, because that was just about the only music you could get back in the day.
Well, Luxembourg, of course.
Well, that's right, but it was a little bit.
Went, didn't it?
Yeah, but it did. Yeah, it went more than it came in our household.
Plus, you didn't hear all the track, did you? Because they were frightened of people recording.
Well, that's right. Yeah, they were talking over it and doing all sorts of stuff. So really, it was the Light programme, and it was fine. And then one day, my granddad said he got this old radio thing, and he says, "Do you know what? I bought a new radio. I'm going to throw the old one out." And I says, "Oh, can I have it?" And he says, "What do you want that for?" I said, "Well, I'll just play around with it." This is when I was about 10 years old. Big old thing, big old lump. So I took it up to my bedroom and I was mucking around with it, fiddling around like you do. And I was twiddling the tuner, and I came across the American Forces Network.
Oh, yes.
And of course they were playing this soul music, and I thought, wow, this is really good, because of course on the Light programme it was just sort of the pop, like your Billy Fury and your Cliff Richard and all that sort of stuff, which is okay, but I got a bit bored with it. And then I heard this soul music, and people like the Staple Singers, Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin, of course, and it really just got to me. I just loved it. And so of course I used to listen to this, and one of the very first tracks that got me was the Aretha Franklin. God, what a track. Brilliant track. Still love it now, still popular. That's where it all began.
All those many years ago.
Yes.
It makes you sick, doesn't it? It makes you sick. He's 62 years old, and he's got this secret of youth, isn't he? He looks about 25, doesn't he?
It's the reason.
Unlike us, Mike.
No.
He's another Cliff Richard,
Yeah, well, I think he's had a few facelifts. Not Andrew, but Cliff Richard.
One or two.
Yeah.
So when did you get into radio work then? Because, obviously, you've got this deep devotion towards that style of music, etc.
Well, that's right. Well, the thing for me, as I said, we only had a radio at home, and to me, the radio was like magic. And the thing with the television, it presents the image and it does it all for you, and you just sit there in front of it and you watch it. Whereas with radio, you create your own image. And I love that. I love the image, and I'd listen to the music and the emotion that the music created. That particular track I played, the Aretha Franklin, just really made me want to move around, and that's what music does. And I wanted to be part of it. I thought, do you know what? I'd love to be on the radio. I'd love to do that. And this is when I was about 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
And when I got to 16, you know, you've done your O-levels and things, and it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to do A-levels, you're going to whatever. And so we go and see the careers teacher. And I went to a grammar school, so it was like you either went to university or you either went to university, or if you weren't clever enough, you know, you stayed and did your A-levels. If you weren't clever enough, you went and worked in a bank, or if you were a girl, you were a nurse, or, you know, those type of things. So, of course, I go into the careers teacher, and he says, well, Ackerman, what would you fancy doing? I said, I'm going to be a DJ. And he goes,
what?
You must be. He said, that's ridiculous. He said, go away and grow up. He said, and it's illegal anyway. I said, well, it's not illegal, because I said, because I told him, you see, one of my heroes was Tony Blackburn, of course, still is. And I said, I want to be on the pirate ships, you see. He says, you'll get sent to prison. He said, don't be he said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Go away. Wouldn't talk to me, you see. Anyway, I stayed on the sixth form, did my A-levels, didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't going to be a DJ. So that's where it all started. But I was serious about it, you know. And I've sort of always been listening and sort of on the fringes of it, but it was only like in 2011 when we met on Seclo Sounds that the door opened. You know, it took a long time to open, but community radio is the way in for a lot of presenters.
So what did you do as a proper job?
As a proper job, well, I came up to Milton Keynes in '78. When I left school, I went to work in local authority, local government. I worked as a pen pusher, and I had the privilege of working with a county music advisor, which was quite an experience. And so I was involved in music through that. And then I decided I wanted to be a teacher, so I came up to Milton Keynes, went to college, got my degree, teaching certificate, taught for a few years. Wasn't really for me, and then I got into market research, which is the business that I started and I still do now. A bit less than I did, so that was my day job, if you like, or day jobs.
I'll tell you what, you brought along a CD this morning, thank you, and we listened to Aretha Franklin. We're going to take a break now.
Sure.
Which track would you like me to play?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'd like you to play. I've got a track number 2, Morrissey Mullin.
Okay.
It's a track called Slipstream. Now, there is a little story behind this, because when I was living at home, in the time that I was working at County Hall, I met up with some guys that were really good musicians, and the problem was I couldn't play any music at all. I was absolutely useless, couldn't sing, couldn't play anything, but I sort of befriended these musicians, and I hung out with them, learnt an awful lot, and one of them was into jazz, and it was at the time when jazz funk was just becoming on stream, sort of mid-70s. And one of them knew a keyboard player called John Christensen, who lived in our town, and it turned out that John Christensen was one of the keyboard players with Morrissey Mullin. So a group of us got together and said, hey, wouldn't it be good if we could get these guys down at a local pub and stuff? You know, they were based in, well, John was in Bridport, but the other guys were all sort of around London south east. So anyway, we put a little gig on with we actually got Morrissey Mullin a year before they released the album with Slipstream on, the album called Badness, and oh my goodness, they tore the place apart. It was absolutely awesome, and they are one of my first, I suppose, experiences of jazz funk. So let's have a listen.